7:51 here, Big 550 KTRS. John Berger is our guest. He's a contributor to Fortune magazine. He's a senior writer there and at Money, and he's award-winning writer at Times, Barron's, MSNBC, CNN, National Public Radio, Fox News. He's a graduate of Brown University. He lives with his family in Larchmont, New York, and he's written a book.
Good morning.
Good morning, John. Thanks for joining us. Dateonomics. Dateonomics is the name of the book. How dating has become a lopsided numbers game. Lopsided for the men or lopsided for the women?
Well, lopsided in favor of the men. So the Dateonomics specifically focuses on what I call the college-educated dating world. And because women have been attending college and graduating from college in much larger numbers than men going back to the 90s, for millennials, there are now 4 college grad women for every 3 college grad men. And this doesn't just make it statistically harder for the women and easier for the men to find a match, but it changes behavior too. And one of my arguments in the book is that the whole college and post-college hookup culture is a byproduct of these gender issues.
Why is explain the correlation?
So there's been a lot of sociology and other social science done on gender ratios, not just today, but throughout history. And when men are the ones in oversupply, the whole dating culture is more likely to emphasize courtship and romance. Whereas when women are in oversupply, the dating culture becomes more promiscuous, men are more likely to play the field, divorce rates go up, marriage rates go down.
Because the women are trying to latch on to the man, and so they have to do whatever they can, including maybe even go further than they would normally.
Yep, that's my argument. Yep.
Supply and demand.
Yes.
It's wow. Women are graduating and going to college more than men. You're saying that's been the tipping point.
Yeah. Now, obviously, none of this would matter if we were a lot more open-minded about who we were willing to date and then eventually marry. But the research on this shows that Americans are less likely to date across educational lines than they're less likely to. The educational intermarriage is at a lower rate today than it was 50 years ago. So, but if we were all more open-minded about who we were dating, these educational levels wouldn't matter so much.
So what you're saying is that Americans are more apt to lower someone from a lesser financial standpoint.
So basically, college grads are likely to marry other college grads, and non-college grads are likely to marry non-college grads.
And very rarely do you see a graduate student marrying somebody who didn't graduate from high school.
Exactly, but one of my predictions in the book is that we're going to see a lot more of what I call mixed collar marriages. Basically, professional educated women married to working class guys, just because the numbers almost demand it. Because in the working class dating pool there are more men, in the white collar dating pool there are more women, and I just think it's inevitable that we'll see more of these kinds of relationships.
And you're saying, what about when it comes to looks? You're saying that women who are pretty may have a harder time dating.
Well, there was one study on this which probably confirmed what we all kind of felt to be true, which is that an extremely attractive woman does tend to scare off guys, because if you're a guy and you're sitting in a coffee shop or a bar and you want to introduce yourself to an extremely attractive woman, you can't make that decision about whether to approach her in a vacuum. You have to kind of look at it in the context of all the other men in the bar who may also want to introduce themselves to her and make a play for her. So if there's one guy, or if there are 15 guys in that one woman, the guy is going to perceive his odds of success as very low.
John Berger, our guest. The book is called Dateonomics, How Dating Became a Lopsided Numbers Game. You say, John, the woman should give the man the ultimatum.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. In business and in politics, everybody kind of understands that ultimatums work. They create feelings of artificial scarcity in an otherwise abundant marketplace. And so in politics, ultimatums work. In business, they work. But people are reluctant to try this when it comes to matters of the heart. And my take is that in a world in which college grad men have an increasingly large pool to choose from, it's really in the interest of the woman to force him to make a decision.
So what are you telling the woman who's on the wrong end of the supply and demand equation?
Well, I have a couple ideas. One, there definitely are parts of the country that are more woman-friendly. Particularly as you head to the West Coast, cities like San Jose, California, Seattle, any big tech hub is going to have more college grad men. My other bit of advice is for women, for college-educated women, to open their minds, open their hearts to include working-class guys in their dating pool.
It's really, really interesting. John Berger, our guest. The book is called Datanomics, How Dating Became a Lopsided Game. The women I know are like, ugh.
I don't know about that ultimatum thing. It hasn't worked for me.
Well, but the problem is you're too beautiful. How's that, John?
Yeah.
See that? See what I did there? John Berger, good luck with the book. Thanks for checking in.
You're welcome.
You got it. Datanomics, How Dating Became a Lopsided Numbers Game.
It's lopsided, all right.
It's so interesting that women are going to college and getting college degrees at a much higher rate than men. Mm-hmm. Men aren't going. That's why a lot of people say that, men are becoming extinct because they're not going to college. They're not doing the things. The women are beating them in the classrooms, in the smarts game. But yet women, why should a woman have to settle for somebody who hasn't done and is her equal?
I agree, because he was saying, women may want to look at someone who may not be white collar.
Yeah.
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 We didn't get to cover, though, what about women who are in their 40s? Or
women who are in their 40s who happen to be a TV radio personality.
What about us?
Your problem is you're too
older.
good looking. You need a terrible accident to happen to you.
What?
Something disfiguring.
Yeah, something that you're too beautiful. That is Kelly Jackson's problem. St. Louis Closet Company traffic.